University of Florida swimming star Haley Keller is forced to travel into a hurricane to try to locate her estranged father Dave, who has mysteriously holed himself up in the crawl space of the family home. Unfortunately, the reason he's trapped down there is because he got jumped by two gators who came in through an overflow pipe. As the floodwaters begin bearing down, the family not only has to bear with these two gators, but also with the nest the two gators laid. So now they're surrounded by gators, and things just keep getting worse from there. This is Crawl. So, yeah, to those of you who complain when I talk about too much of the movie, I'm going to try not to, because it's going to be really hard, because unfortunately it's a lot of people avoiding getting attacked by alligators, people getting attacked by alligators, alligators attacking other people. That's kind of what happens in this film. So, yeah, if you've seen the trailers, I will say this: I think they did a good job of laying out the tension throughout the film, setting things up. Jump scares are in there. They're applied nominally well, I'd say. I mean, there's some points where you're just waiting for someone. There's a point where two police officers come in there, and it turns out one is the ex-boyfriend of the older sister of Haley, who's only appears on webcam or cell phone cam, FaceTime basically, and yeah, you can tell like it's just waiting for him to get chomped because he's just sitting there the whole time. There's a dog. The dog does not die, I'll tell you that too. But the dog actually helps locate the father on several occasions and helps lead everyone to safety because the dog can sense the gators. There's kind of a lot of that in this film. Also, because this is Florida, and they made light of some recent events where two DJs on the radio had to point out that no, you can't shoot the hurricane with a gun. Stop shooting into the hurricane. Yes, that was something that happened, I think it was a couple of years ago, where it's just, yeah. So, there's kind of a lot of that. Yeah, spoilers, they do make it through, though not all in one piece. Like, Haley gets her kneecap split by a gator. It chomps on her leg, it chomps on her arm once she tries to pull a gun from the corpse of said police officer who gets killed. The father, Dave, he loses an arm. He gets chomped at the shoulder, and then he loses his right arm. I think it's on both sides there. And he suffers a compound leg fracture, and they have to try to make their way through. There's also an interesting subplot with two people. There are people who are looting the service station that's across the street from the house. She spots them. Haley spots them. She's trying to signal them. And the gator, they're trying to steal the ATM machine. They're stealing the ATM machine. Like, do you not understand that you can't just break into those things? Those things are almost impossible. Those things are built to withstand like bombs. Like, if you ever watch WTF IWWY, they've had to deal with two things. They've had to deal with people shooting into hurricanes and people stealing ATMs. It's like, you can't just crack those things open and get the money. So yeah, I couldn't help but have a little chuckle there. If I have to have a complaint about the movie, and this is weird coming from a movie that's under 90 minutes long, it's too long. There's a few points where it starts getting really repetitive. It's like, they try to, at one point they manage to get out of the house, they're trying to get to the boat, they hit the eye of the hurricane, then the storm whips up again, they're trying to get through everything. Then more floodwaters come in and it sends them crashing right back into the house. So yeah, they manage, they do get rescued at the end. Obviously limbs are lost. They're both worse for wear. The running subplot through this is Haley's parents had recently gotten divorced. Her mother has already moved on to another guy and is living in Paris. And the father, basically she blames herself because the father got wrapped up in her swim career. Like, he was one of those helicopter parents who coached her all the way through her youth and into high school. And she sort of said, it's because you were constantly going to my meets and you were ignoring her. And he's like, no, look, the two of you, the two girls, because the older sister is mentioned, though like I said, she really only appears on FaceTime. But yeah, like, the two of you were what kept us together. We didn't want to split up. And then when you both left the house, we just realized this thing is empty and we don't really like each other anymore. It's not, and that's kind of the whole motif of this film. So yeah, overall, if I were to make a comparison to this, I would compare this to the movie Open Water. I don't know if you remember that. That was the movie about two divers who accidentally get abandoned and from their sea tour. They're the honeymooning couple, and they get abandoned and they get left at sea, and eventually they both die. Yeah, it's kind of like that in the sense that when you first saw the movie, a lot of people said it was one of the scariest movies they ever saw. It was so intense, but if you tried to rewatch it, you knew when all the scares were, and that's kind of the same thing with this. If you watch it once, it's going to be really good. If you try to rewatch it again, it's going to lose all its effect. So I'm going to give Crawl a B. Also, I hope I wasn't too spoiler heavy in this, so hopefully that can work for you.
It could be the game of the year. Two of the country's best quarterbacks, Warfel and Manning, in the head-to-head war. Florida battles Tennessee next Saturday on CBS. Just watch.
Okay, so normally this is where I go into the trailers I played before the film, but funny thing happened. There were no trailers. The screening was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. This was at the AMC theater where they play ads before the trailers. Just go with it. And okay, you settle down? Okay. So like I said, they play ads before the trailers, and normally they hit this ad for the Chevy Blazer, and then they'll run a Coca-Cola ad, and then they'll go into the trailers. Well, they ran the ad for the Blazer, the screen went blank, and then nothing happened. They just played music. It was just a blank screen over a blank screen. And it kept going, and it kept going, and people in the crowd got up, and we had 4 times where people got up to say, hey, what's going on? And it turned out that there was sort of a brownout in the theater, for lack of a better term. Basically, our wing, where there were 3 theaters in that wing, and all of them were not working. They had no work, like minimal light. They were on auxiliary lighting and everything, so yeah, something happened to the power, and since our theater was the only one that actually had people in it, that was the one that they seemed to notice the most. It took them about 45 minutes to get screening, and when they did, they just went right into the movie. They skipped the trailers. So yeah, that's why the cat is exuberantly happy to see me right now. I was gone for a long time. I left at 5:30 thinking I was going to I could eat dinner and then go into the theater. I had to wait for the theater to open, and then the screening got delayed. So yeah, no trailers here. Anyway, I do plan on seeing the movie Stuber tomorrow, but that's obviously going to be at a different theater, I think. For those of you who maybe aren't entirely aware, there's 2 theaters here in Bismarck. There's one called the Grand, which is a very nice, very ritzy upscale theater with stadium-style seating and 22 screens and a whole bunch of stuff. So it is kind of the preferred theater in town, and then there's the AMC, which is part of a mall. And it has 8 screens and no stadium-style seating, and it's been that way for over 25 years now. So and it's a nice theater. I'm not picking on it because I actually have to go there. I used to be part of MoviePass before, well, you know what happened with MoviePass, so I switched to the AMC Stubs plan, and because AMC Stubs only works at the AMC theater, I can only go to the AMC theater. Basically, that's the only way I can see movies every week. I have occasionally this year gone to the Grand, but only when the need calls for it. And I think this week's the next film's probably going to be that. After that, the next video after that is going to be the random trade review on Kirby Genesis Volume 1. And then we're going to get the Extreme Rules recap and review as the cat climbs off my lap. Next movie after Stuber will be The Lion King, and I know they're already putting out reviews on that. Also, if a bunch of you are going to talk to me about Cinemia, the brand doesn't take Cinemia either, so that's not really an option for me. Anyway, see you all next time. Hey guys, check out my Patreon and see how you can request a movie for me to review, even if it's some stinker like A Dog's Way Home or the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Also, if you like what you see, give the video a like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. I understand you're not going to be up here for a long time. I got to get up after this. Mm-hmm. There. Mm-hmm. Just lie down.